Welcome to the Gym and Tonic Podcast. I'm your host, Shanae Kunsa from SK Bodyworks. This is a podcast where I share valuable education, insight, and strategies around all things health, fitness, nutrition, weight loss, and mindset, mixed in with some laughs, a whole lot of balance, and a few ums along the way. If you're ready to make your weight loss and fitness goals a reality, you've come to the right place, because through these episodes, I'm going to help you live a healthy but balanced life, lose the weight, and become the best version of you possible. Let's go, girlfriend. Hello and welcome to the Gym and Tonic Podcast. I cannot believe that we are already 2 months into the year, 2 months into 2025. Like, where does time go? But today's episode, we're going to be talking about February's challenge. And if you are new here, every 1 month on the podcast, we have a new challenge for that specific month. And the idea of these monthly challenges is to really up level ourselves, challenge ourselves, grow, get outside of our comfort zones, and ultimately just become more expansive versions of ourselves, take the action and step into the best versions of ourselves possible to make our goals a reality. So that is the idea of these monthly podcast challenges if you're new here. If you're not new here, I hope that you've already been taking action on last month's challenge, which is January, which technically at the time of recording this, it's still January. But by the time it's released, it'll be the 1st of Feb. And I actually thought that I would start off today's episode by giving you guys a little bit of an update. So something a little bit different. And if you can't tell by my energy today, I am vibing. And I feel like I'm still on a little bit of a high after an online workplace wellness presentation that I did a little bit earlier today for a workplace in Queensland. So I apologize if my volume, I should probably speak a little bit softer, because I'm seeing like the things on the screen, like on the recording platform. It's like it gives you the, I don't even know what it's called. It shows you like the up and down, whatever. And it's really high and low. So sorry if I'm super loud. But yeah, I'm on a bit of a high. So yes, today, the time that I'm actually recording this is a Friday. I'm actually usually studying Fridays, but it was a short week this week. We had obviously Australia Day, public holiday Monday. So it's been a little bit of playing catch up this week. And then I also had the presentation today, so it's thrown my week out of whack. So there was no study today. But obviously I have started my study this year for my life coaching diploma to become a life and mindset coach. And so far it's been so good and I have been loving it. And I actually next month in February have my first face-to-face training days, which I absolutely cannot wait for. So yes, some exciting news coming after that as well, which I won't spill the beans on. But yeah, anyways. And also, actually, if you haven't listened to my last podcast episode with Michelle, where we spoke around breath work and inner child healing, I had so many of you reach out to me about that episode and I guess how insightful and helpful you found it, and that it was a great listen. So thank you for those that reached out to me and gave some feedback. And if this is your sign, if you haven't already listened to it, to go back and listen to the last episode. So yeah, outside of that, I guess clients have been getting such incredible results. Like my clients have been on fire, which has been so incredible to be able to witness and be a part of that. And it's really just fuel in my fire. I actually also recently went on a weekend retreat, which was amazing. So that was just this month in January. And I actually hosted some workouts on the retreat as well. And I've always had a vision. It's actually something on my vision board, but I've always had a vision to one day host a retreat. It's always been something that I've known that I've wanted to do. And going on that retreat really confirmed and solidified that it is absolutely one day something that I want to do. Not just yet, but definitely one day, maybe within the next 2 years or so, but time will tell, and something to work towards. So super excited to, I guess, eventually get into that space, and tick that off my vision board. And yeah, behind the scenes, outside of that, I am actually currently working on an epic challenge to come soon. I cannot wait to launch it. It's actually meant to launch already, but life's been lifing. It's been busy and I haven't wanted to rush it. I wanted to make it the best challenge possible, and I also didn't want to spread myself too thin. So really something that I'm prioritizing this year, especially with managing, I guess, work, clients, study, and everything else in between. So yes, and I guess the challenge will actually be in the SK Bodyworks app. So if you're already a member on the app, you are going to have access, a part of obviously your membership on the app. So you will automatically get that. And if you're not already in this space, if you're not a member on the SK Bodyworks app, you need to be and you need to get in this space. The SK Bodyworks app, if you do not know or you haven't seen me speak about it on socials or on the podcast, the SK Bodyworks app is essentially a health and fitness membership that gives you the recipes, the workouts, the community, education, yoga, meditations, brain fart. Sorry, it's not brain farts in the app, but like live follow along workouts every month, in-app challenges, and so much more. There is literally so much value inside this app, and it's going to help you lose and or maintain your weight, improve your overall health, get fit, feel energized, and really step into that best version of you possible. And it's literally going to give you all of the resources to be able to do that. So if you're not in this space already, you need to get in this space. It is only $56 a month, and that is literally the price of like 2 takeout coffees a week, or even, if you think about it, 1 takeout dinner per month. So, really, I guess looking at where, if your investments are supporting your goals, you could literally buy, 1 less clothing item for that month and invest in the app. Or maybe that could actually be alcohol, less alcohol and more investing in things that do align with your values and your goals. And even, I'm actually right now just going to put this out here. This wasn't something that I planned, but by listening to this episode, I'm going to give you 50% off your first month if you're not already a member. So in order to get the 50% off, I need to actually come up with a discount code. I'm going to do it as soon as I get off this podcast episode. And let's just make it potty, because it's a podcast episode. So potty, not as in like a toilet kids potty, but you know what I mean. PODDY. I'll put it in the show notes below. I'll make sure it's active. And that's going to give you 50% off your first month. So instead of $53, that's going to be $27.5 if I can do, no, that's not right. 28, anyway, whatever it is. Girl maths is not mathing. It's not mathing properly. And I actually worked in a bank for 7 years, so that's actually pretty scary. But anyways, whatever half of $56 is, that's how much your first month will be. And the app is also, you can cancel at any time, so it's nothing locked in. Yeah, and ultimately outside of, I guess, work and business, I've really just been making an effort to, as best I can, to prioritize me and show up for me so that I can be, the best coach and I guess the best version of me possible. So yeah, that's a little bit of a behind the scenes update and I guess life business update. So let's dive into this month's challenge. And actually, before we do, we're just going to have a quick reflect on January's challenge. So last month's challenge was to pick a word that you want to embody in 2025. So this one or maybe 2 words that you want to embody throughout 2025 was essentially something that, is aligned with your goals and really, I guess, represents a theme or intention that you're wanting to focus on throughout the year. And I guess also like it's really a guiding principle that helps you stay aligned with your values, your goals, and your priorities. And this practice of, choosing a word for the year can be a very powerful way to actually create more clarity and intentionality in your life and really, I guess, help you stay focused as you, progress throughout 2025. Like we're already in February, which is crazy, and help you really stay focused on what actually matters to you, what's important to you, and even for you to come back to when you're feeling like you're falling a little bit out of alignment, feeling a little bit lost, overwhelmed, and so you can switch that focus and really embody that, so you can be aligned with the version of you that you want to be and become. And if you listened to last month's or January's challenge, you would have heard my words were, or my words are for 2025, intention and flow, which so far have been going so well, especially intention. I've had a lot more intention behind just things that I'm doing in my everyday life, which has been really great. I feel like flow is something, and I'm not going to dive too much into what that actually means for me and what that looks like, because I spoke about that in last month's episode, but still a bit of a work in practice, that's for sure, but making some real small steps, which is good. So if you haven't already listened to January's challenge, I encourage you to go back and listen, and I obviously dive deeper into what it is that you want to embody in 2025, how to choose a word, and how you can embody that word. So, and even if maybe you did do January's challenge, but maybe you've already forgotten about your word, and actually embodying it, this is your sign to reflect on that and reflect on the last month or so and think about how you can actually change that moving forwards. Because remember that saying, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you keep taking the same action, doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. You need to take different action to get different results. So really think about, what version of you are you choosing to be? And I actually have that written right above me on my little whiteboard up above my computer that I can just come to. Sorry, this is really off track, but it just made me think of that. But a lot of the time I come back to that, especially while I'm working, especially distractions and things like that. I look at that and I'm like, okay, what am I choosing in this moment right now? And it helps me then, I guess, reflect on that choice and, make a choice that's more aligned with my goals and the version of me that I want to be and to become, of course. I love how I'm talking and you obviously can't see me, you can hear me, but I'm using my hands so much, but you can't even see me, so I'm talking with my hands. Anyways, let's dive into February's challenge. So for the month of February, this month, and this was actually a challenge that I was going to do, I think it was like going to be in December, and then it was going to be January, and I kept pushing it back. But I promise it's going to be worth the wait. So for this month, I am challenging you to implement a digital detox before you go to bed. And if you want to take that a step further, also in the mornings when you first wake up as well. So we'll talk a little bit more about this sort of as we go through and as I explain this a little bit further, and sort of just assess where you're currently at with that and how that feels, if there's a bit of resistance there, and if you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do that like morning and night, like I'm used to going on my phone for this long in the evening and first thing in the morning. If that feels really stretchy, maybe it's just starting with one, and then working your way up to doing both evening and morning. But essentially, I want you to change up your routine, your evening routine and or your morning routine, and potentially even implement a pre-sleep ritual. So we'll chat more about that today, but the main focus is going to be that digital detox before you go to bed. That is what I'm challenging you for the month of February. And if you already do this, like if this is something that you already do, great, keep doing it. Or even, take it a step further and challenge yourself that bit more. But far too many people are finding themselves, and this actually used to be me as well, and I'll talk to that a little bit later, but far too many people are finding themselves scrolling on their phones before bed. And there is a number of ways that I guess this can actually impact our well-being, which we're going to briefly address and talk about the why, because it's so important to understand the why behind something. Because if you don't know why whether it's why you quote unquote should do something or quote unquote should not do something, you're probably not going to do it, or at least for not very long. It's just like if someone tells you, I like using this as an example, but it's just like if someone tells you to eat more protein, and it's like, great, you might do it for a couple of days, you might do it for a week, but then you'll probably go back to old habits. But if you know the why behind, why you should eat more protein and get more protein intake in your nutrition, that's really going to empower you to actually, be consistent at that, to continue doing that, and, feel empowered to keep doing that. And, if you know that protein is going to help you stay fuller for longer, it's going to help you, stay more satiated and satisfied after meals. It's going to help you, prevent binge eating, cravings, constant snacking. It's going to help you, boost your metabolism. It's going to help you with hormones. Like, if you know the why behind why, getting more protein in is going to support your, weight loss, health, fitness, etc. Goals, then you're going to be much more inclined to actually do it. So that is why I wanted to just spend a little bit of time now diving into some reasons as to, how digital detox, or I guess actually not doing the digital detox and scrolling on your phone before bed can impact your well-being, and, have an impact on your life, I guess, as a whole. So firstly, the impact that scrolling on our phones, obviously, before we go to bed, when we first wake up in the morning, the impact that this has on our mindset, our mood, our mental health, and just our overall well-being is huge. And before we actually drift off to sleep, and I guess also in the first moments of sort of waking in the morning, like that sort of wake window, is when we actually have access, or most access, to our subconscious mind. And this is when our brain is essentially most receptive to input. So it is so important to be mindful of what you are feeding it, especially at these times of days, right before you're sort of drifting off to sleep, before you, sort of put head to pillow, and also first thing in the mornings. And, this is why as well, I don't know if you may have heard before, like, doing things like meditations and affirmations and visualizations and those sorts of things. This is why doing these, before you go to bed or as you drift off to sleep in the evening, it's why it is so powerful to do at these times of days. And yeah, like I said, our brains are most receptive to input, and we have access, like the, window between our conscious and our unconscious mind, at these times of the day, because obviously other times that we do is when we are in a meditative state. So if you're in that highly relaxed meditative state is when you also have access to your subconscious mind. But anyways, that's not in relation to digital detox. I'm going a little bit off topic. So yeah, our brains are most receptive to input at those times of days, which is why we don't want to go on our phones before we're falling asleep and right in the morning. And I've actually heard this analogy before, and I don't even know if it's an analogy. I don't know if that's the right word to use, but anyways, we're going to go with that. And, I find it actually very relevant to this. And, it's like, would you allow 50 people to enter your room first thing in the morning? Probably not, or at least I hope not. And, thinking about that in context of scrolling on your phone, why would you then do this by going on your phone first thing in the morning as soon as you wake? You're scrolling past, news, media, friends, family, like the crazy stuff going on in the world, the sad stuff. Like, why would you let all those people in your room first thing in the morning? Because that is going to set the tone for your day. Our subconscious mind runs and is active for like 95% of let me say that again. Our subconscious mind is active for 95% of our day, and our unconscious mind is active for 5% of the day, which is a huge difference. So what we feed our subconscious mind is literally the program our life runs off. And I'm not going to dive sort of too much into that because, again, I'm going a little bit off track. But it is why it is so important, not to be going on your phone right before you go to bed and first thing in the morning, because, it has that impact on our mindset, our mental health, and our overall well-being, our mood and how we feel. And that actually was my next my next point. But the impact that it does actually have on our mood and the rest of our day is huge. And I know, like, for me personally, when I go on my phone, maybe first thing in the morning or at some point, in the morning before, giving to me, before doing something for me, before filling up my cup in the morning, it honestly impacts the rest of my day. Like, I notice a huge difference. Like, my mood, like a huge difference. And, even you're like, oh, okay, I'll just check one message. And then one message turns into one email. And then one email turns into, I'll just check this message on Instagram. And then, stuck in a scroll. And then, TikTok. And then an hour's gone and you're like, holy shit, I haven't even done anything with my day. Got to get up, the rush begins, you're off to work, and it's like you haven't given a second to yourself. You've been spending and wasting that time scrolling in things that don't even, 9 times out of 10, that probably don't even matter to you. And by doing, I guess, this digital detox, and it is actually something that I do. I don't often go on my phone first thing in the morning or in the mornings. Here and there, I absolutely have done. And it's something that I used to do, which I'll talk more about later. What was it saying with that? Yeah, doing the digital detox allows me to really prioritize what's important to me, to fill up my cup instead of wasting my time scrolling. And, like I said, I even noticed the impact that has on your mood. It sets the tone for your day. Literally, it is what we're feeding our subconscious mind for the day ahead. And even before we go to bed at night, that's setting the tone for the next day. So such a huge, I cannot reiterate enough, how much of an impact it has. And I notice even if I, maybe do check my emails or, client messages or DMs or a message or Instagram or my notifications or whatever that looks like, I check maybe one email and it's an email that I didn't really want to see. And I'm like, then it puts me in a bad mood and I'm like, or I'm thinking about, I've got to deal with this now today, or, I'm stressing about this, or, whatever it might be. And it's that puts me off on the wrong foot to start the day. And, I haven't given time to me. And then that's going to impact my choices that I make following that. Because I'm going to be let's just say if it was an email or something and I have read it and I'm like, now I've got to deal with that today. I don't have time. I haven't, scheduled that in my calendar. And it's that ripple on effect that it has on, your mood and the rest of your day. So even, I guess, so like I said, sorry, another brain fart there. We've had a few of those today. I've done a lot of talking today. So bear with me. But yes, by doing a digital detox, it can allow you to get so much more done, to, be more productive and really spend your time with intention, and be able to do the things that you say that you want to do. You say that you want to get up and go to the gym in the morning or do a workout from home. You say that you want to get up and actually make yourself breakfast or, whatever that looks like. But, by scrolling on your phone is taking away time from the things that are important to you, the things that you say that you want to do and the things that matter to you. And, if you could imagine adding up all of the time that, us as humans spend on our phones, it would equate to huge amounts of time wasted in our life. And I'm not saying that all time on, social media, scrolling on your phone, whatever, is wasted. Maybe you're doing some work stuff, or maybe you're, doing whatever it is. But you get the idea of what I mean. And, even a lot of people say that they don't have time to, do X, Y, Z, to, prioritize themselves or to lose the weight or to, meal prep or whatever that looks like, right? A lot of people say they don't have time. But the truth is, and this is actually the case for a lot of my clients who I, have worked with and worked through this with clients. And, when we actually look at their schedule and, I guess their time management and how they're spending their time, we realize a lot of the time that there are habits and there are things in there which aren't in alignment with their values, with their goals and what's important to them. So, instead of trying to make time, can you actually look at your schedule and see, what you're doing right now that maybe is not so supportive of your goals? And can you swap that for something that is? That's going to support you, your goals and how you want to feel. So yes, spend your time with intention and, ditch the phone first thing in the morning and first thing before you go to bed, because it will impact your mood and the rest of your day. And until you actually try this as well, if you're someone who normally for as long as you can remember, this has been your routine, scrolling before bed, scrolling in the morning, or, just in general, whether it's scrolling or being on your phone, same, you will notice a difference when you actually change that habit. You will notice a huge impact. And I'm going to talk about this with my journey of doing this towards the end. But another impact that it has, and I guess how it impacts us, is, the effects of blue light from our screens. So from our phone screens, it impacts our sleep and our quality of sleep. So the blue light in our screens, and especially when it's quite close to our face, like a phone, like an iPad or a tablet, or even a computer or laptop or something like that. TV, yes, there is blue light in TVs. It's generally a little bit further away, so it's not right in your face. But the blue light in these devices can impact our body's natural circadian rhythms, which is, I guess, essentially like your body's clock of like sleep and wake cycles. So the blue light in the screen can actually cause our cortisol to rise and our melatonin to drop, which, as before bed, is not actually what we're wanting to happen. We actually want it to be the other way around. We want our melatonin to rise and our cortisol to drop so it can support a good night's sleep and, a deep, restful, restorative, rejuvenating, and good quality sleep. And even something like blue light glasses, when I'm watching TV of an evening, when I remember, I put on my blue light glasses to prevent the effects that blue light has to my sleep and my quality of sleep. So, if once in a blue moon that you do have to go on your phone before bed, or, TV or whatever that looks like, implementing the blue light glasses could be, just something you could do to just further support that. But I mean, ideally, I don't want you to, leave your routine as the same and just use blue light glasses because it's, only going to do so much ultimately. And I guess moving on to the next point, a lack of sleep or even not getting enough quality sleep, from scrolling or spending too much time on your phone, because, it's so easy for 10 minutes to go by, 20 minutes to go by, half an hour to go by, and you still haven't gone to sleep. Like, that's an hour extra sleep that you could have got, or, X amount of time. So a lack of sleep or not getting enough quality sleep from scrolling or going on our phone can impact our health as a whole. And also weight loss. If you have weight loss goals, not getting enough sleep is going to impact this. And in line with that, like, it can impact so many other things. It's going to have a huge ripple on effects. Like, it's going to impact your recovery. So you're not going to be recovering as well, whether that's in relation to recovery from stress, high levels of stress, or maybe, recovery from your workouts or a run that you did, or, whatever that looks like. It's going to impact your workout performance, your nutrition, even your, just how you show up, and, even your workplace performance. It's going to have a huge impact on, that ripple on effect, and even your nutrition as well. And by not getting enough sleep, it can actually affect a hormone called the ghrelin hormone. And this is essentially a hunger hormone, which can cause cravings. It can throw out our body's natural hunger and fullness cues, which can cause us to overeat and potentially feel hungrier than what we actually are, which can then, of course, have an impact on weight loss. And then, even thinking about that can then have an impact on your mental health, and then that can impact your sleep further. And, it's a ripple on effect, and it really is all connected. And it is why a holistic approach is so important, and it is also why I take such a holistic approach with my clients, and also why I'm even deepening and furthering my study this year with my life coaching diploma, because holistic health is literally where it's at, because one area impacts another area and it has a huge ripple on effect. Not getting enough sleep as a whole from spending too much time on your phone or scrolling, and really not getting that quality sleep can have the hugest ripple on effect, like I just said, and really impact how we show up, or even, I guess, don't show up. And I'm sure everyone could probably relate to or know how you feel when you don't get enough sleep. Most of us are probably not the nicest of people to be around. And I even just thinking about that as well. Like, I remember a time when I was really sort of leading up to my extreme burnout. And obviously at that point I was not getting enough sleep. And I just specifically remember this time when I was in the car. I don't know where I was going somewhere. And there was like a little rattle from something in my car. And it was like, something that normally wouldn't piss you off, basically, but it was pissing me the fuck off. And I was like bashing this thing in my car, and the impact that had on my mood from not getting enough sleep, and just from like the smallest little inconvenience of my day. Like, I'm not normally an angry person, but like it really irritated me, right? So again, it just goes to show how not getting enough sleep or enough quality sleep can really impact every single area of our life. And, in particular, a cause of spending too much time, scrolling or on your phone, whether it's in the night or, in the morning as well. And to give you a little bit of an insight around, I guess, and I mean, even like so many of my clients have been, this is a change that I work through with so many of my clients. And, when we actually make these changes, we notice huge impacts on their sleep. They're feeling more energized, so it allows them to be able to actually get up in the morning and do their workouts. It supports their nutrition, being productive, getting more out of their day, feeling better about themselves. Like, it has, their mental health. It's had such a ripple on effect in every area of their life. And it's such a simple thing, but when you actually do it and actually follow through and make that change, it can, I'm so positive that you'll notice a lot of changes. And even for one of my clients that I've recently just worked through this with, she is someone who would go on her phone before bed, is what I was going to say, for like an hour and a half before bed. And then in the mornings, she would literally, first thing when she gets up, she would roll over, turn her alarm off, pick up her phone and scroll for at least half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes before she got out of bed. And you can imagine, like, that's, so 45 minutes plus an hour and a half, that's 2 hours and 15 minutes. I can count. That's 2 hours and 15 minutes of this particular client's day that she's spending scrolling on social media. You can imagine how much things you could get done in that time that are in alignment with your goals. And this comes back to, as well, like I was saying before, a lot of people say they don't have time for, to do X, Y, Z, or to prioritize themselves, or, do the meal prep, do the workout, do the whatever it might be. But a lot of the time, this is not the truth. Actually take a closer look at your schedule, and I am so positive that you'll be able to find time in there for things that, aren't supportive of your goals. And really, like I said, looking at where you can replace those for things that are. So that was an example of, a recent client that I've worked through with this. And like I said, it's something that I work through with so many clients, and it has, really, I guess, delivered such incredible results and that huge ripple on effect. And even just to briefly tell you a little bit about, I guess, my journey with going on my phone before bed. I used to, years ago, this was something that I did like every night. And especially when I used to work at the bank, and also I did PT outside of that, and then did my, I guess, online coaching and things like that in between that as well. It was pretty crazy time, but a lot of the time that was actually the only time that I had to go on my phone. And I mean like the only time, because I was working from like 5 a.m. to like 7:45 p.m. at night. Where was I going with that? Yeah, anyways, I used to go on my phone every night before bed, and I, would get into bed after such a long day, and I would be tired, but I would be so wired. Like, I, wouldn't be able to get to sleep. And, going on my phone actually had a huge impact on that. Little did I know, actually, until after I stopped doing that, I noticed the positive impact that it had on my sleep. And yeah, essentially I would go on my phone every night before bed. Until I actually changed this habit, I started sleeping with my phone in another room. I actually invested in a little alarm clock. It's actually called a flip clock. I don't know where I got it from, but it's great because I hate sleeping with the light on, with the like a digital clock, how it's got or an analog clock, I don't know what it's called, but how it's got like the bright numbers. I can't sleep with that. So anyways, flip clock, I invested in that. So I've got my alarm in my room. So I don't have my phone in my room and I'm not tempted to go on my phone. And the huge impact that this had on my routine, on my sleep, made a huge positive impact. I was able to fall asleep so much quicker. I was able to have a better quality sleep, not waking up as much throughout the night and just waking feeling so much more refreshed and I guess like rejuvenated from a better quality, deeper sleep. Because like I said, even with the blue light in our screens can impact our quality of sleep. Even if you're, go on your phone before bed and you're like, oh, it doesn't matter, I fall asleep straight away. Yeah, great. But it's actually still impacting your quality of sleep. So even though maybe you don't wake throughout the night and whatever, it's still having an impact. And I can guarantee you, when you change this habit, you will probably have, a really good insight into actually how it actually is. Yes, since changing that habit, it has completely transformed my sleep. And like I said, for a lot of my clients' sleep as well. And even just thinking about, I guess, like I said, I slept with my phone in another room because I knew if I had it on my bedside table, especially when I was first initially changing this habit, because it was uncomfortable, especially when it was something that I was so used to doing. It was uncomfortable, but I pushed through that discomfort, sat in that uncomfortable, and then obviously the more that you do that, the more comfortable it's going to get, and eventually that's going to become your new normal and just seamlessly a part of your everyday life. And to this day, I still sleep with my phone in another room. I sleep with it in the office, which is great, and I generally do a digital detox before bed. Recently, it hasn't been 100%. Not that we're ever wanting to aim for 100% or perfect, but it hasn't been as, I guess, consistent as I would like. So I am also participating in February's challenge alongside you guys with that digital detox before bed in the morning. And it is actually something that I do in the mornings, and I've been pretty consistent with that. But like I said, I've noticed when I do pick up my phone, the impact that it has on my day or my mood, on, that ripple on effects that it has. But yes, just going back to the phone on my bedside table. I knew if I had my phone on my bedside table, I would be tempted to pick it up and scroll on my phone, especially when I was initially changing that habit. I guess you cannot rely on willpower when you are in an environment that does not support your goals. So if you have your phone right next to your pillow and you're trying not to go on your phone before bed, you are only going to be able to rely on willpower not to pick up that phone for so long. Like maybe a day, maybe a couple of days, maybe a week before you actually go and pick that phone up again. So you need to make sure your environment supports your goals and the actions that you're wanting to ultimately take. So it will come back to making it as easy as possible for yourself. So, whatever you need to do to make it as easy as possible for yourself, not to, to do that digital detox before bed and of a morning if you're, taking it that step further. So, do you need to, like I said, sleep with your phone in another room? Do you need to put it on do not disturb? Do you need to use the downtime setting on your phone to turn off all your apps? And I actually have, downtime is a setting on iPhones. Sorry if you're a Samsung user. I'm not a Samsung gal. I don't know. I'm sure they probably have a somewhat similar setting. But downtime is in your settings. I might actually just go on my phone right now so I can actually tell you exactly where it is. So if you open your settings and you go to screen time and then downtime. If you click on that, you can set up a schedule for the days that you want to do it on, whether you want to do it every day, whether you want to do it on, just certain days, and the time, so the time that you want it to come on from of an evening and the time that you want it to turn off of a morning. And that'll actually turn off all of your apps and put it on like a do not disturb focus mode automatically at these times of days when you've got it scheduled. And it is honestly the best thing, especially because I used to be someone who, like if I see a notification on my phone, I'm like, I need to check that. I need to get that out of my notification center. So not being able to see notifications and having it, I guess ultimately the app's turned off so that notifications don't come through, allowed it to be so much easier for me to allow it to, to allow me to actually follow through with it. So if you don't already use downtime, I highly suggest it. It's super helpful. You can even select which apps you want access, which apps you maybe want access to and you don't want them to turn off. And for example, I have my phone app, messages app, like a meditation app, my SK Bodyworks app, things like that I know I'm going to be using, even my podcasts like early in the morning that I know that I'm going to be using during downtime like frequently, even my music if I'm doing a workout or something. And I make sure that these aren't turned off because it can be a little bit annoying every morning to go back in and make sure you get access to doing it. So anyways, moral of the story is you can select which apps you want to do. You can even select with the focus mode, like on a do not disturb, if there's specific contacts that you still want to get past the downtime and, calls to come through. It's like you can literally personalize it so much and it's amazing. So if you don't already use downtime, this is your sign to do so, and it's going to allow it to make it as easy as possible for yourself to be able to follow through with this digital detox, both of an evening and of a morning. And then, even something else that you could just do is, notify maybe relatives or friends of this change that you're making. So, if you are someone who generally, maybe you talk on the phone to a friend, maybe you, are texting or sending reels or back and forth or whatever that looks like, Snapchatting, whatever you do in your time. If you normally do that of an evening and it's like, that's something that you do every day and like, they're expecting a reply or, whatever that looks like, or maybe it's work, maybe setting those boundaries with work, have that conversation with whoever you need to have a conversation with and just say, hey, look, this is what I'm looking at implementing. Just so you know, I'm, for the most part, I'm not going to be very responsive of an evening anymore because I am prioritizing me and my sleep. So I'll respond, when I can or, the next day. Obviously, if it's urgent, you can have it so if they call, it comes through. Or, if they message, it comes through. Whatever, you can set that up to whatever you like. So at the end of the day, you want to make it as easy as possible for yourself. So even, if work is a bit of a barrier when it comes to sleep, maybe you're replying to emails at, whatever time of the night. Maybe that's expected of you, but maybe it's not a part of your job role. Can you set these boundaries so that you can prioritize you and your sleep so you can actually show up your best, potentially even be more productive the next day at work so you don't need to reply to the emails at that time of the night. So yeah, really focusing on you, because when you show up for you and, get your sleep and do all the things, you're going to allow you to, be a better version of yourself, period. The other thing that I just wanted to mention, I did mention to, I guess, if you wanted to take this that little bit further and change up your routine before bed and implement what I like to call pre-sleep rituals or even improve your sleep hygiene to essentially support you in getting potentially more or better quality sleep, that is absolutely something that you can also do and challenge yourself with. Some examples of this could be, and especially if you're someone who goes on their phone before bed and you're participating in the challenge, you're not doing this for the month of February. Maybe it's a half an hour digital detox or 20-minute digital detox before bed. So meaning you put your phone down half an hour, 20 minutes before bed, and you do not pick up your phone and you do not scroll on your phone. So, if you're used to doing that, you're probably going to need to fill this time with something else that maybe does support your goals. So, that could be, implementing things maybe like reading a book. It could be listening to a meditation. It could be, doing some stretching, some yoga. Whatever that looks like, that is something that's obviously aligned with what you want to do, is going to be able to support your sleep. And the idea behind this is actually, and a way that I actually really like to put this is, think about it before you do a workout. Before you do a workout, you are, you're doing a warm up, you're preparing your body for exercise, you're getting the blood flowing, muscles working, moving, etc., right? Preparing for the exercise, preventing injuries, all those things. And, you're getting, ready for the exercise. On the other end of the scale, when we go to sleep, we expect to, go about our day, do this, do that, go into bed, scroll on your phone, and then we expect to put our phone down and then go head to pillow and straight to sleep. But it does not work that way. Just like we warm our body up for exercise, we need to prepare our body for sleep. We need to wind down before we go to sleep so that we can impact, obviously, and have a good quality sleep. Not only obviously be able to get to sleep quicker, but also the quality. And so we can really allow for that deep, restful, restorative sleep. So the idea behind this is obviously to activate your parasympathetic nervous system, which is also known as your rest and digest, and reduce your sympathetic nervous system. So essentially that's known as your fight or flight. Because if you're in your fight or flight, you are not going to have a great sleep, period. So activating your parasympathetic nervous system, your, rest and digest, and really coming down into that relaxed state, winding down before you go to bed, is going to support your sleep, which is, as we know, it's going to have a huge impact on every single area of your life. So that is your challenge for this month. I feel like I rambled on probably a little bit longer than I needed to, but I hope you enjoyed today's episode and got a lot out of it. But that is your challenge for the month of February, to do your digital detox, whether it's for 20 minutes, half an hour, decide what works for you. Before bed, you are not going on your phone. And if you do want to challenge yourself that bit further, same in the morning, doing a digital detox for the first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of your day. And you'll probably find you'll be able to be so much more productive in the mornings. And it's going to set you up for a good day. It's going to support your mental health for the day, your mindset, your productivity, your focus, everything else in between. So, and if you wanted to obviously, like I said, take it that step further again and implement a pre-sleep ritual or improve your sleep hygiene, you can do that as well, because that'll come alongside, implementing that digital detox. If you're used to going on your phone, you're probably going to want to replace it with something else so you can not only support your sleep, but to make it as easy as possible for yourself, so you're not sitting there, thinking about your phone and really wanting to pick it up, because initially you probably will. It'll be literally almost like a habit that's been programmed into you. So you, just like you train yourself to do that, you can also train yourself and rewire your brain not to do that through repetition. And yes, it's probably going to feel a little bit uncomfortable to start with, but the more times you do it, the more easier it's going to become, and the more seamlessly it'll just be ingrained into your day-to-day life without you even needing to consciously think about it. Okay. And lastly, I just want to say, start small. Meet yourself where you're at right now. If you are currently scrolling for an hour before you go to bed, and an hour in the mornings, I probably would not expect you to completely cut it out altogether. Maybe it's just scrolling for half an hour, setting yourself an alarm. When that alarm goes off, okay, I'm going to bed now, or I'm reading and then I'm going to bed. So start small, focus on what's going to be a 9 out of 10 realistic for you, and follow through with that. You have got this. I believe in you, and I cannot wait to hear how this transforms and how this digital detox transforms your sleep, your life, and that ripple on effect like we spoke about. So as always, the next monthly challenge will be dropping on the 1st of March. In the meantime, make sure you go and join my SK Bodyworks community on Facebook. There is a link in my Instagram bio, which will have my online community there. It'll take you straight to the Facebook group, and in the Facebook community group, making sure you are not forgetting to share what you are doing for the monthly challenges on the podcast, because we are doing this together as a community. I also do have a broadcast channel on Instagram. So if you're not a part of that, make sure you join that by just heading to my profile, and it's called the Highest Self Society. So make sure you join those if you're not already a part of them. Like I said at the beginning of today's episode as well, if you are not already a member of my SK Bodyworks app community, you need to get on this. You need to get in there. And like I said, by listening to today's episode, I'm gifting you, if you're not already a member, 50% off to join the app for your first month. So remember, I can't do math, so whatever that was, 50% of $56. So half of $56 is what it's going to cost you for your first month. And the code, I'll pop in the show notes below. We decided it was going to be PODDY. PODDY. And I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get that active right now. And lastly, I just wanted to say and ask you for a huge favor. If you have been enjoying these episodes, I would so appreciate and really love to hear your feedback. And if you were to, like, follow, subscribe, share, whatever else you do, the podcast, whether you listen on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, whatever, if you could do that, that would be beyondly, I don't even know beyondly if that's a word, but that would be beyond appreciated, as it can help me get into even more ears and hopefully impact even more lives. So thank you for tuning into today's episode, and I cannot wait to see you on the next episode. Have the most wonderful day ahead, or whatever you have left for the rest of your days. Big love to you, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.